Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. This time we're playing White-Red Genesis Chamber. Our opponent is playing the Blue-Red Delver Tempo deck that we covered in one of our last articles. So this is our opener. We won the roll, so we're going to play first. Not the most exciting of openers. A lot of land, a Norrin and a Blasting Station, but I decided to keep it. Norrin works well with all the cards in our deck pretty much. And sticking an early one seems good. Obviously going to have to hope to draw reasonably well, but I decided to run with it. So just run out the Norrin. I just played an island, so I'm not quite sure what he's up to just yet. Play out my Soul's Attendant, which isn't the most exciting of draws, but it does work with Norrin, and it's going to give me a life, and a few life over the turns, I guess. Draw Purphoros, which is not too bad. It's a nice little combination with Norrin, and given we've got nothing else to do, I'm going to cast this Blasting Station. I'm going to Taxing Probes, Serum Visions. With Mountain Bolts our Soul's Attendant, which I'm going to respond by using our Blasting Station to ping our opponent for 1. With our opponent tapped out, we're going to cast this Purphoros. It's kind of worried about him having counter magic up, so this seems like a great time to get it down. And the Norrin Purphoros combination is actually pretty difficult to deal with. Obviously Purphoros is indestructible, which makes it pretty difficult to get off the table. And Norrin is constantly fleeing before spells resolve, so this is going to be quite a nice little consistent source of damage here. So, went a little bit too fast. So let's see if we can see what happened there. So our opponent plays Snapcaster into Serum Visions, and Norrin's going to come back down, deal 2 damage to our opponent on the end of his turn. I'm going to cast Champion, doing 2 extra damage. Norrin's going to return again, putting a +1/+1 counter on the Champion, and blasting our opponent for 2. I'm going to play Sword, Fire and Ice, tries to equip it. The Blasting Station off my Champion in response to kill it. Obviously this Purphoros Norrin combination is actually just going to be lethal on its own, so you don't really want him to be able to race us at all, and Sword is definitely going to be allowed to do that. So it's unfortunate that I lose the Champion, but I think it's the right thing to do overall. So we draw into Ranger, which is perfect. It's actually lethal because going to get 2 damage off it coming down. Then we're going to pick up 2 1-drops, which is 6 damage, and then when Norrin comes back down, that's a total of 8. And we can actually do quite a lot more damage if we activate this Blasting Station. So could have done a total of 9, 10, 11, 12 damage maybe. Sounds about right. So yeah, that was quite a lot of damage all in one turn. Ranger was a really nice draw there. So let's go on to game 2 if we can. Sorry, just had a bit of a dry throat there, so I just have to take a drink. So this is our opener for game 2. Looks pretty sweet. We're on the draw. We definitely need to get another land, but I think on the draw I'm happy to keep this. Opponent leads off with Steam Vents into Delver. Going to lead off with Champion. Hopefully going to be able to gain us quite a lot of +1/+1 counters off our Soul Sisters here. We'll do the second Delver and then Bolts our Champion. Attacks for 1. It's going to run out of Soul Warden. Fortunately we don't draw the second land just yet. So on the positive side, opponent's not flipping his Delver. Electrolyze takes out the Soul Warden, and we end up drawing a Lightning Bolt, which we're just going to use to kill off his Delver. Don't want to take 6 damage when they both flip. So worked out nicely as our opponent does flip the Delver, but still got a long way to get back into this game. Draw a second path and try and pass the Delver. Hunt Vapor Snags, which I'm okay with. It means he's going to have to replay it and then hope to flip it again, which is going to take time. Play Soul's Attendant to Soul Warden, but this was a really bad play. I actually knew that he had Electrolyze, so because he flipped the Delver with it. So I probably should have played one of the Soul's Attendants and kept it path maybe. I don't know. Either way, he's probably going to get there eventually, but it seemed like a bad play. Opponent doesn't flip his Delver, which is always good. Looks like he drew Tectonic Edge maybe. Come out Genesis Chamber. But opponent's going to get the first advantage of it, playing a second Delver. Put my second Genesis Chamber and then use my Soul Warden. Fortunately, he's going to bolt it before the Mir come down, so I'm not going to get any life. But yeah, his Delver still hasn't flipped. His Delver still haven't flipped, which is good. I played Primate there. Unfortunately, I couldn't play Primate and keep up Path, and I decided to play the Primate. Might have been better just to keep up the Path, but I don't know if we can beat the Delver flip anyway with his burn, and this deck doesn't actually deal with flies very well. So yeah, we end up losing. Definitely lost there. If we'd passed the Delver, maybe we could have survived at least a little bit longer, but I still think we probably lose here. Yeah, maybe we could have made it. Not so sure. Probably would have been the better play just to keep up path for the Delver, but it would mean we wouldn't have made any play that turn. But yeah, unfortunate we lost out there. So on to game 3. This hand looks fairly nice. Double Soul Sisters into Pridemate. We've got a Ranger to restock our hand when the time comes to it. We'll lead off with Soul Warden. We'll lead off with Delver. I'm going to cast my Soul's Attendant rather than the Ajani's Pridemate, just because I don't want it to get bolted. And if I can play it following turn, I can make it into an instant 4/4. So I'm just going to run out now. Make a 4/4. Plays a Pyromancer, which is a little bit scary, but we are going to be able to gain a lot of life off it, which is nice. He Electrolyzes. Still going to gain 4 life off of, 2 life off of the Elemental token coming into play before Electrolyze resolves. But we are going to lose our Soul Sisters here, which is not nice. I draw Soul Warden. I could either Ranger of Eos, getting some combination of maybe Norin and Soul Warden, or loads more Soul Wardens, but I decided to go instead with the Soul Warden, Genesis Chamber, and then play a Soul Warden. This way we gain life, get another token onto the battlefield, and make our Ajani's Pridemate bigger. Although likelihood is he's going to chump with his elemental token, which of course he does. I should have gone for range there, but I still think this play was reasonable. And bolts the Soul Warden. It's actually getting pretty aggressive. I feel like that whole line of play was pretty bold. I'm going to Ranger here, although we do draw another Soul Warden, which is pretty nice. And I'm going to get Norin and Legion Loyalist. The plan with Legion Loyalist is to play it out, and then this gives Ajani's Pridemate trample, which means it can get through with all its the large amount of damage it can do, instead of him being able to chump it repeatedly. And obviously Norin is just a way to repeatedly activate Genesis Chamber, which is obviously pretty nice. So opponent gets hyper aggressive here. Vapor Snags my Mir token, bolts my Ranger of Eos. Attacks for 10, was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, so that was 10 damage. It's pretty nice, but we're on such a high life total that only knocks us down to the starting life total of 20. I draw Soul's Attendant to go with my Soul Warden, so we've done really nicely. Draw's been pretty good. So we're going to play those both out. Just going to make a lot of tokens. This gains us a lot of life. Also got Norrin, so you can do some silly things. I'm going to play a lot of Legion Loyalist just so we can blink out the Norrin. So we made a pretty sweet board state for ourselves, all in one turn. Hunt drops another Delver, which is not too scary. Catch a 3, which doesn't do a great deal. Seems though Norrin can allow us to gain 4 a turn in combination with the Genesis Chamber. Play out Pridemate, and I'm fairly content just to wait here. Eventually I want to make this Pridemate big enough to use with the Legion Loyalist to kill our opponent. And yeah, our opponent concedes. So yeah, I mean, our board state is just too good now. He can attack, and we'll just trade off these various tokens, making at least one per each of our turns, and probably one on each of his turns, if he ever wants to play a spell or attack. And yeah, it all seems pretty good for us, and it probably wouldn't have been too long before I'd have been attacking with this Legion Loyalist and a lot of my guys to give Ajani's Pridemate trample and kill him off for good. So yeah, this worked out pretty nicely, and yeah, maybe got a little bit lucky in places, but I think you have to with this deck. It's not the most powerful, but yeah, a lot of sweet interactions, and definitely a lot of fun when it goes right, like it did here. So yeah, those were the games in the match.